Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 16 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. As you can tell, we did switch to a brand new team in today's episode, featuring Xerneas and Kyogre, where there's a bunch of things I wanted to try out. Of course, those two Pokemon, but also the Salmon Mawile duo, which I think is pretty solid right now. So, Mawile being a pretty nice Mega Evolution to use because of its ability to knock out Xerneas, which is obviously so common, and I think the dual Mega here is a pretty fun option. Also running Crobat for the Tailwind option and Amoonguss for redirection, which I really think helps out with Kyogre and Xerneas. So, without further ado, let's jump into this episode. Just under the 1700s, so two wins would put us over the 1700s, so that's the goal for today's episode. But, you know, obviously in the beginning of the week, really just trying to learn as much as possible, and really in the format still. It's very early on. It's only been 2-3 weeks since the format was released, so or 3 weeks basically, but a lot of things to really take in, and each game is a learning experience. But we're actually going to find GE1615 from the US. Ge's a really cool guy. I think he's also got his own YouTube channel. Super chill homie. I remember I actually was his fan before because he did one of those raps with Shofu, I think it was. But yeah, let's get into this episode. And as always, if you enjoy Road to Rank, please share your support by leaving a like in the video. I would really appreciate it. Anyway, GE here's rocking a team of Kangaskhan, Salamence, Talonflame, Xerneas, Smeargle, and Groudon. So the big six. Six very common Pokemon that are often seen together, have done well at multiple tournaments. Basically, all these 6 Pokemon have been on a team that's made, I think, at least the top 8 of all the European regionals. Won a bunch. I know Marcus Thatcher won a regional with it. A bunch of other notable players have been using very similar, if not the exact same 6 Pokemon. Of course, each time you see these 6, there's slight variations in terms of movesets and whatnot. I do like the Crobat option here because it does instantly block the Fake Out from Kangaskhan. I can match his Tailwind, and I can also go for the Taunt onto Smeargle. The question is which Mega Evolution I want to bring. Mawile here matches up quite nicely against Xerneas, Salamence, and Kangaskhan. Meanwhile, Salamence matches well against everything bar the Xerneas. I feel like if you're my opponent here, you're not going to bring the Kangaskhan, though. Kangaskhan just isn't as good of a Mega Evolution option, and I feel like it makes more sense to bring the Salamence. I don't know, I can definitely see him going with the Fire-type Pokemon as a lead. I think I'm going to lead, however, with Crobat Mawile with, let's see. I like Kyogre Xerneas in the back. Yep, that's pretty solid. So we'll lock in, we'll see how this goes. There might be some Tailwind Wars right from the start, and I don't know, maybe leading with Mawile wasn't the best of ideas, but it does put on pressure immediately if my opponent leads Salamence or Xerneas, or Kangaskhan if that matter. So I'm pretty excited to see how this battle turns out. But it looks like we do see the Xerneas come out, which is quite nice, alongside the Talonflame here as I lead with Crobat and Mawile. So, bunch of options. I do get the Intimidate off here against the Talonflame, which is probably the most important thing here. He is going to be at -1, so Fire Blast, or excuse me, Flare Blitz shouldn't be able to knock me out. Though I wonder if he'll go for the ballsy read of doubling up with a Flare Blitz and like a Moonblast. Let's see. Oh dear, I just realized. So my brother traded the Mawile into me for this game, or to use because I needed that last Pokemon. And this one actually doesn't have Play Rough. Instead, it has Rock Slide. So, that could be a problem here. I just realized before I even selected my moves. But let's see what I want to do here. I don't know. I kind of want to Super Fang Xerneas because I feel like he might switch out. Since I do have Rock Slide, I can actually take advantage of that and go for the Rock Slide here. And he switches out. Nice. That's actually was exactly what I was hoping for here. So hoping for Groudon to come in. Okay. Nice. Nice. So I'll be able to do like 60%-ish right from the get-go. So that's really nice. So maybe the Rock Slide here actually helps me more than it hurts me. Alternatively, he could have gone for the Flare Blitz onto Mawile, and that would have been pretty bad. So let's see. He probably did go for that play, now that I think about it. But if he didn't, then that'll be really good for me. I mean, I assume Flare Blitz in the sun knocks Mawile out, even though he's intimidated. And I missed the Super Fang. Oh. He does go for the Flare Blitz onto Mawile. Let's see if that knocks me out. Yeah. So great play by him there. Man, that miss really sucks. However, this does mean I get the free switching into my Kyogre, which at least can give me an opportunity to come back. Game's certainly not over, but losing Mawile like that really sucks. And in VGC 2016, when you lose a key Pokemon like that, you really have to think hard in terms of how you're going to come back. So maybe just going for a Protect and a Super Fang there would have been a little bit safer, since then I would have gotten the switch into Kyogre. I do have some nice offensive presence here, though. Now the question is, does he go for a Quick Guard? Or not a Quick Guard. Does he Brave Bird my Kyogre, trying to reduce my damage output? He's probably Max Speed Groudon, which I'm also not fond of. Or does he Tailwind here? I think I kind of have to match the Tailwinds here. And Water Spout still knocks out Talonflame and does a lot of damage. Groudon here is probably going to want to switch out. That's why I really wanted the Super Fang, because a Super Fang there means that another Super Fang plus Ice Beam picks up the knockout. But, yeah, misses do kind of suck. You got to deal with that, though. That's what happens when you run Super Fang. But it looks like Groudon is going to pull the switch out here. Into Xerneas. I'm okay with that. Let's see what he goes for here. Tailwind or Brave Bird? Yep, he is going to launch a Tailwind up here. So I'm okay with that. We're going to match Tailwinds, but like I mentioned, now this is the biggest issue because he's going to get a free switch and back out into his Groudon. And Water Spout here is not going to be able to knock out Xerneas, most likely, since Xerneas is very, very bulky, even if it's uninvested. Oh, never mind. I stand corrected. Yeah, that wasn't even a crit. Kind of surprised to see that, but Kyogre really coming through there with a big knockout on both Pokemon. And I do set up the Tailwind, so basically nothing changes here, other than the fact that he resets the weather. However, that is a big enough factor for him to win this one, so let's see. So Groudon and Salamence coming back into the game. Speeds are even right now, but speed tie wars are what I'm fearing the most right now. He does get the Intimidate, but the Intimidate doesn't matter whatsoever. Let's see. I mean, I could just Ice Beam here and Super Fang, honestly. Since Salamence won't knock me out. I'm just gonna go for that, I think. Yeah. Because if I get the Ice Beam out, even if he knocks out Kyogre, then, you know, I have Xerneas and Crobat, and his Fire-type attacks will be reduced, and Xerneas outspeeds Groudon. So, big turnaround there, but yeah, you'd imagine if the first turn... I mean, if Groudon had the Super Fang chip damage, I'd feel definitely a little bit better right now, since it meant that... It means one more Super Fang puts it in Ice Beam or Moonblast KO range. So instead now, it's a little bit trickier, but at least the last turn played out as perfectly as possible, despite a very poor turn 1. So I played a little bit risky that turn 1. I didn't think he'd go for the Flare Blitz play, but it makes sense given that if I switched out, he'd actually win the speed kind of war. But great move by him here. He's going to protect with the Salamence, which I maybe should have predicted here. Oh, come on. Miss another Super Fang. That sucks. That really does suck. So he has the Double Edge Kyogre here, though. That's the main thing. So I wonder if he's going to predict the Protect here. I'm still going to Super Fang Groudon, and you know what? I'm just going to Ice Beam the Salamence here. I'm just going to go for it. I'm hoping here he makes a misprediction and targets my Crobat instead of my Kyogre. Trying to knock that out. Man, I've never missed 2 Super Fangs in VGC 2016 yet, but game's still not over. Can still win this one, just... Ugh. But if he's the special Groudon variant, and he doesn't have Precipice Blades, then what I can do is potentially set up another Tailwind in the late game. Finally connect with one Super Fang here, okay. That's something. Yeah, here's the Double Edge. Does he target down this Crobat, though? Nope. Smart enough to target down Kyogre. Okay. Fire-type attack, presumably, coming out. Oh, he Earth-powered. So maybe doubling up into the slot. Well, that's good news. That's very good news. As I get the switching into Xerneas. Okay, last turn of Tailwind here for both of us, so that doesn't really matter. I don't think Dazzling Gleam knocks out Groudon right now. The thing is, I have the Geomancy play as an option. I do have the Geomancy play as an option. He probably realizes that, right? Double Edge doesn't knock me out. You could also Super Fang Moonblast Groudon. Yeah, because I'm guaranteed Tailwind up, right? So unless he crits... Or I could Dazzling Gleam. No, I'm gonna Super Fang Moonblast. Okay. Fine, thank you, it hits. Oh, Moonblast might knock out, might not knock out, excuse me, got speed there. Yeah, that might have been bad if I don't pick up the knockout here. Come on, Xerneas, I believe. Yeah, you did it! Good job, Xerneas. That EV training and those Poffin trainings, it really came through. Okay, so that should be game here, as Tailwind peters out. I'm just gonna go for the, I wonder if he has Tailwind, so I could go for the taunt to maybe prevent that. I'll just Tailwind protect here. Actually, let's think. I guess the fear is if I taunt and he double edges Crobat, then I could lose the game. Though I don't even think double edge knocks me out. Well, let's see if he has Tailwind. Normally it's Hyper Voice Draco Meteors are the last two. I'd be kind of surprised to see Tailwind on Salamence here too. Okay, good. So he makes a good play of going for the double edge on the Crobat, but that doesn't matter since Xerneas here is the key Pokemon. So that was basically a guaranteed win as long as he didn't have something like Tailwind. Quick Guard here. I don't even think Salamence gets priority moves, but Quick Guard and Moonblast to seal up the game. Oh, that was an intense one. I thought I was like, I'm so far behind, I can't figure out really. I mean, I have to get a little bit lucky or hope like, you know, damage rolls go in my favor or like he makes a mistake. And hey, switching into Xerneas was a big deal because I picked up a double knockout. I'd imagine if he switched out into Salamence, things would have been a little bit more interesting, perhaps in his favor, since the Tailwind game would have also been in his favor. But instead, I was able to just pick up a double knockout instantly and win. So good game to GE there. That was definitely a really intense one, especially after he made an excellent first turn play. But if anything, that should show you that in VGC 2016, yes, you know, each turn does really matter, but even if you instantly fall down into a deficit, you can still figure out a way to come back and play if you play smartly enough. And, you know, that one didn't even involve any RNG in terms of me coming back. So, a great game there, and let's see what we find for our last opponent for today's episode. And pretty nice to pick up a win there, especially because that team is one of the strongest teams running around right now. I think the Pokemon choice I made definitely were the right ones at the end of the day. I really do like the Mawile call because it put on pressure on the first turn. We'll be putting Play Rough onto it after today's episode, but for the sake of this one, just stick with to Rock Slide. Would have been so nice though if he just went for like a Brave Bird or a Tailwind turn 1. I would have been able to, if I connected with Super Fang and Rock Slide, knock out Talonflame and deal like 80% to Groudon, and then put him in Sucker Punch KO range, and then I could Tailwind with my own Salamence or my Crobat. So first turn didn't work out that well, but hey, at least we managed to come back from that one. And the late game was still super scary. You know, he made some excellent plays just going for the Protect with Salamence. I was trying to punish him as hardly as possible. I'm trying to think. I guess if he protected... If he went for a Fire type attack instead of doubling up into Kyogre, maybe he had a decent shot at winning that one. Since if you go for the Fire type attack, Crobat takes damage, and then Salamence, you know, can knock it out with a double edge. So, Fire type attack there could have helped him out, but who knows, maybe he wasn't carrying one other than Eruption and didn't want to deal with it. Even though 50% Eruption against Crobat's still decent damage output. So we find Fabian from California with a rating of 1487 for our next opponent, so win here actually won't put us over the 1700s, but let's try to pick up with the win here and continue climbing in tomorrow's episode. Alright. So he's got a real throwback Pokemon there in the Hitmontop. Hitmontop, one of the most popular Pokemon in VGC 2012, used very often in 2013 as well, and you know, hasn't been used nearly as much since then, but those 2 years it really dominated. And I should actually make a reference to VGC 2010 when it originally became popular. So in 2012 and 2013, you used it with a Fighting Gem and Fake Out Pressure and like close combat. But in 2010, it was actually used with Technician, and the idea was that Mach Punch would do a lot of damage to Pokemon like Dialga, which was really popular. You'd also have Fake Out Pressure, just like the Intimidate one used in 2012 and 2013. Fabian here's got a team of Hitmontop, Cresselia, Kangaskhan, Groudon, Landorus, and Xerneas, so relatively standard outside of the Hitmontop. Let's see, Mawile's typically my go-to Mega when I see a Xerneas. So yeah, Mawile's pretty good here, just to watch out for the Groudon, but I do have Kyogre. I could lead with Crobat to just put on some pressure and ignore his Fake Outer, so I will go with Crobat. I'm gonna go Crobat Mawile again, since Mawile beats everything bar the Groudon, but my way to beat Groudon is just to switch into Kyogre. So I'm gonna go with the same fork here. The Salamence and Amoonguss are quite nice on this team, but in this game I don't feel like they're as necessary. Alright, let's see. I'm trying to think right now. Without Play Rough, is there much of an issue? I guess against Hitmontop at most, but Iron Hit still does a ton of damage. So if he leads with either of his two Fake Outers, he's really going to be punished against this lead. Anything bar Groudon, and he leads with Kangaskhan Xerneas. Okay, that is like as good of a lead as I could have asked for here. Since he can Fake Out Mawile, won't do very much. He can't fake out my Crobat, and I can go for a turn 1 Tailwind instantly. So, that's exactly what I'm going to go for here. Actually, maybe I want to Taunt. Yeah, I still fear the Xerneas getting set up. So I'm going to Taunt. Should I switch out? Is there a reason to switch out? There's no reason to switch out. Not going to Mega Evolve in case he switches out to conserve Intimidate potentially. Nice play though, he's going to withdraw the Xerneas, so I could have set up a Tailwind there. In comes Groudon. Yeah. I just really feared, because like, say he gets the Geomancy off and I get the Tailwind off, then he can still outspeed Mawile with his Xerneas, and Moonblast still will do a ton of damage. So this is important for me. I need to really conserve my Mawile, so I'm probably going to be withdrawing it out this next turn, maybe until the Kyogre, but difficult thing is, without Intimidate, Groudon might be able to do a lot of damage until switching. So, first turn didn't play out that well. I was hoping he'd go for a Geomancy to punish him. Ends up getting himself out of a bad position to a much better one. And that's why Groudon's so solid of a choice. Especially against Mawile. So no fake out. He looks like he's going for the Double Edge too. Yeah, I should have just gone for the Iron Head on the Kangaskhan. Double Edge was so obvious too. Why did I Protect anyway? I guess I was fearing like if he gets the fake out chip damage, then he could potentially pull something off here. So that was really not that great at all. But at least I get the Tailwind up here. What do you do here? You maybe go for an Eruption? No, you probably go for a Ground type attack. How important is Kyogre? Would I rather sacrifice Xerneas? Actually, no, Xerneas Sweep here is really good against him, so I'm just going to switch out into my Kyogre here. I'll let him pick up a Knockout. Because once I get the Xerneas in, the only thing on his team that even gives Xerneas any trouble is the Groudon. But right now I won the Weather War. So yeah. So both games, turn 1 not playing out as well as I really would hope for them to have, how it would have played out. But once again, let's try to see if we can come back off a kind of precarious position. So Primordial C here does get rid of the Sun. If he goes for a Fire type attack and knocks out Crobat, like that would basically be game because I get the free switching into Xerneas and I can Origin Pulse next turn. I assume he's not going to be silly enough to do that, but you never know. Double Edge knocks out Crobat, but this actually works out perfectly because he didn't, go for a onto the Kyogre. Presumably a Precipice Blades or a Earth Power coming out here. There's a Precipice Blades, but unfortunate for him, Kyogre dodges it, which is really good fortune for me. Do feel pretty bad about that because now I will be able to kind of just steamroll over everything. I think a Precipice Blades plus a Sucker Punch from -1 Kangaskhan. No, I don't even think that's enough to knock out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to Geomancy and Water Spout. And that's why I really dislike Precipice Blades as an attack in general, even though I'm running Origin Pulse. On this Kyogre, obviously you have Water Spout as well. For Groudon, though, it's a little bit tougher since Precipice Blades, you can run Earthquake as an alternative, I guess, but Eruption is, your spread type attack where it does a lot of damage, and whereas Kyogre has 2 really reliable answers for strong spread water type attacks. I guess Surf too, which was used back in VGC 2010 on Kyogre occasionally. But he's going to pull the switch out into Crest here. If he doesn't switch out Kangaskhan, let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to get a Geomancy and a Water Spout off. I guess the nice thing here, though, is that he'll be able to get the switch in back into Groudon. And what that'll allow him to do is win the Weather War. But then I can just Moonblast Crest and switch Kyogre out, right? Or maybe I want to conserve. We'll see. There's a Water Spout. Yep, knocks out the... Oh my gosh, that does so much to Cresselia. That's a ridiculous amount of damage. And, leftovers? Okay, cool. Nice item choice there. And Groudon is definitely coming back in here. If you bring in Xerneas, you outright lose the game. Yeah, okay. So game's still not over, honestly, because a decent chance here Cresselia has the Trick Room. Here's the tricky thing. Pun with Trick Room there, unintended. But, so I want the Mawile for the late game to beat the Xerneas. If I switch in here, I mean, Mawile, there's not a doubt in my mind he's going to go for a, Precipice Blades here. I don't know if Moonblast can, or Dazzling Gleam can knock him out here, or knock the Crest out. And obviously I would like to switch Kyogre out to win the Weather War. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Yeah, actually I think I'm still just going to do it. Just going to Moonblast Crest and switch it out into Mawile, because a -1 Precipice Blades might not even be a 2-hit KO. Oh, but he could Eruption. But I am at +2, so I don't think that matters too much. Dazzling Gleam was so tempting there, but I don't know. Cress is really, really bulky. And if he gets Trick Room up, then I'm actually screwed. Oh, nice! Helping Hand. That's nice. That is nice. Not that that was unexpected, but... I mean, should have knocked me out unless he crits me here. He does connect, which is nice. I feel good for him. Wow, Xerneas, you're so bulky. What the heck? See, I haven't played with Xerneas very much in this format, but... I mean, it's intimidated, obviously, but oh my gosh. I was not expecting it to survive it that well. And that should be game right now, because all I have to do is Moonspout, Moonblast, Xerneas, and Water Spout. I guess if we speed tie, and his Xerneas and Groudon are both max speed, you could Moonblast Precipice Blades. Maybe I should Origin Pulse to play it safer. And everything would have to go right there, though, for him. I don't know, I'm actually considering the Origin Pulse play here. Because it ensures I win, but it means I have to hit. I'm gonna go for Water Spout. Watch me regret this. Watch me regret this. Xerneas protects. Actually, that just means I should win the game. Unless he protects with Groudon, too. Okay. Oh, okay. So, delaying everything by a turn doesn't really matter in this kind of game, but it's a smart move on your opponent's end to see whether either my Pokemon protect. Also see what water type attack I'm going for with Kyogre. Oh, I forgot I had Tailwind even set up. Wow. I was playing that assuming Tailwind wasn't even up. But, yeah, gonna make the same play again. So I'm not sure how much the Precipice Blade miss on Kyogre really matters in the long run, but it definitely put some more pressure onto my opponent. Actually, no, it did matter because it meant that I could just Water Spout and Geomancy as opposed to Dazzling Gleam Water Spouting. But I'm not sure I entirely needed that miss, for example, to win the game. He actually goes for the double with Groudon and gets it, but it's not what he needs to go for, I think. Then again, I mean, if he's not max speed Groudon, then he just loses. And looks like Xerneas isn't bulky enough to take the +2 Moonblast. So yeah, that actually just ends the game. With that, then, your hope is... You have no hope. There's no way you could win this game at this point, I think, since I won the Weather War. And once again, that's why the Weather War is so important in this format. So let's see how much this Moonblast does. I would say 60-70%. Okay, a little bit less than I was expecting there, but once again, I'm just trying to figure out my calcs with all these Pokemon. So, Kyogre gets the Water Spout off, gets the knockout onto Groudon. So, we do win our first 2 games with this team. Really fun games, though. Wow. I mean, both games, it was like terrible turn 1 and then able to play out of a relatively small hole, but both turn 1s, like, I already had the matchup in terms of my Pokemon and my leads and whatnot, and like, when you're ahead, then all you have to do is just make even trades with your opponent, and both times I lost the Pokemon instantly, / like, just didn't get any momentum going, and played really, really passively, which really wasn't that great, but hey, we managed to eke out with 2 wins in today's episode, and see if we can just finally make that push into the 1700s in tomorrow's episode. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like always if you did, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright, peace.